Attitudes towards human anthropology is one of the key differences between left-wing and right-wing policies. The most of left-wing believes that people are inherently good and it is society and its traditional institutions make people evil. For example, from their point of view, an authoritarian family is a source of fascism. Therefore, feminism and juvenile justice with repressive apparatus are necessary to eradicate family relations. The right-wingers believe that man is imperfect by nature and lives sinful life, and the preservation of long-standing and time-tested attitudes restrains the imperfect nature of man. The principle of struggle between political idealists and political realists is manifested in this context. In total liberalism conditions, right-wing ideologies are not attractive and also not efficient. There is not enough people recognizing their goals as individuals and they are ready to give their lives for some great project which stands for something bigger than sense of self. If they exist at all, then small groups of such individuals don't affect other masses of people. Such individuals often have different visions of future and past. Denial of the current state of affairs and complete blindness to the reasons is the only thing that unites them. At the same time, it makes it easier for various kinds of minorities as their enemy is obvious and well known to all the like-minded. This enemy is all the reactionaries and all those who wish to save the old order and restore the rigorous system protecting conservative institutions. The traditionalism preservation means attacking the autonomy of the individuals and on their right to be anyone they want. Generally, today's typical reactionary is the one who defends the 50-year status quo, that is, things that would have been criticized by a reactionary crowd 50 years ago. Left-wing politician is someone who stands for a system that hasn't come yet and may never come. Although the left often have no less disunity, the reactions presents creates the prerequisites for a general mobilization against any right forces. Traditionalists simply don't have such a mobilization force, justified from the point of view of a new European person. Anti-Islamism is the only agenda in the West that looks like mobilization, but such a program is not Christian but secular liberal, that is not essentially right-wing. Islamism is currently one of the most organized and more or less united forces, inclusive and truly reactionary. However, Muslims failed to pretend completely their ideas in the Middle Ages, when their resources were similar to those of opponents. Therefore, the chances which will come into play now are much lesser. Salat may help to order thoughts, but in the fight against urbanization it is ineffective. Liberalism is incredibly stable. It includes even such anti-liberal things as world religions. The consciousness liberalization enters all planet corners with technology and science, culture and philosophy. So why, at the moment, the reactionary cannot be effective in the Western world? In the post-secular era, it is impossible to talk about religion as a connecting factor. If such a factor was to exist, then there wouldn't be problems, because the taboos imposed by religion wouldn't allow liberalism to become fully functional. But there is no such force. Liberalism for Caucasians, Europeans, adequate persons or believers is simply not possible. There is no human power to limit it. That's why it is possible either for anyone or for no one. There is already something else outside, but it is not what it was 200 years ago. There is something new, different and unknown. What is the main idea? The person is free to choose his way of life independently, provided that it will not violate formal laws. True liberalism has arose among Christians and has Christian foundations, but all is forgotten with the death of God. In place of the Almighty Creator promise came the promise about man's finiteness and its only life here and now, and it is immoral to limit it from outside. Cartesianism has become yet another reason for proclaiming man as sentient being who is incapable of doubting his own existence. If this person is rational and completed, what obliges him to submit to external forces, except for cooperation and conclusion for a mutually beneficial contract? There are three pillars of liberalism: the Descartes' rationality, the Locke's self-identity principle, and Hobbes' desire to survive. They actually, provided the God is dead, were an elimination of moral authority which allowed left-wing ideas to expand, giving rise to a revolutionary person fighting for the right to be what he wants outside the permitted framework and the authority. In this struggle, those people who wanted power over others developed. They embodied unknown yet terrible forms of tyranny. The implementation of such ideas, appearing in a certain heads, has always been hindered by centuries-old institutions, which forced them to comply with imperatives and reproduce prejudices. At the moment, the main left-wing task is the destruction of institutions through liquidation or making others submit its own ideas of what is needed. It's not a question of a counter-revolutionary subject identifying, which simply cannot be found among new European-typed people. The question is it possible for the subject to be a counter-revolutionary in general? Is it presumable to apply some part of a counter-revolutionary agents to political realists? Likely not, because political realism says about inability of reversing the social time, hence impossibility of abolishment that transformation which was made by Descartes, Locke and Hobbes.